Call them today.
Let me see if I can hear myself. You hear yourself? Do you hear yourself? Do. What's going on? I'm on the road. I just want to catch a little cruise, that's all. And let's see, on a day. Mm, the channel. Let me see if it's working. All right, good. I hear myself. Sounds good. What's going on, guys? So I just want to drop this here real quick. Hang out, catch some cruise. Feel free to drop comments. Feel free to drop questions. But I just went through our inbox here. Our inbox, by the way, is ask@manofprestige.com or questions@lolaanola.com. And I saw some questions, but I'll go through some of them. But I actually just want to hang out on my feed here on TikTok, on Instagram, on YouTube. Hang out on my feed and see if we can just catch some cruise and leave some comments, some content here for everybody who might come and watch later. So you might hear some more. I'm looking at a video here by a gentleman on TikTok. It says couple on a journey. So it looks like there's a couple. Most of you will not even encounter this type of profile, but if you encounter me, you can encounter them. All right. So it's called couple on a journey on TikTok. Hopefully you can hear. If you can hear, I'll repeat what he's saying. But let's go. First one. Let's see. Husbands. He said husbands. Do you stop doing these three things? If you want a happy wait. Stop doing this caption says husbands, do you unknowingly damage your marriage with these three habits? All right, so I'm gonna go through it. The first one. Three things. Stop downplaying her feelings. When you act like her emotions. Bro, when you act like her emotions, she doesn't feel cherished. A woman who doesn't feel cherished will slowly shut down. It will start by emotional shutdown. Somebody said, what's emotional? Kilo me. Second thing, listening and flipping it on her. Listening and flipping it on her. You listen to her, but you flip it on her. So how many times do we talk about active listening here? Speaking of active listening, ASAP P God Mobile Weirdo says, I'm your only viewer and yet there's 10. Why don't you just chill a little bit? Not anymore. I'm here too. Shout out to Murder Drones Weirdos. Anyway, welcome. Our real family are not here right now, but they'll watch this later. So feel free to catch some cruises about marriage. So he said you listen and you flip it on her. Does that sound familiar? You get angry, you blame. You blame. So one of our toxic forms of communication, anti-seductive behavior is blaming, shaming. We've got a few of them. Sarcasm, condescension, quite a few things like that. And listen, as normal human beings, we use those things, but you don't want to use those things when you're in the middle of crisis. When you're in the middle of crisis, if it's obvious that somebody's upset, either it's you or the other person, then you probably should stay away from languages that seems to blame, shame, anything that seems to use sarcasm, anything that used to back end, anything like that. So, but let's keep going. Now, if she feels unheard or disrespected, there's a key word in what he said, feels. if he or she, by the way, but he's talking about she, if she feels disrespected. No, you don't have to agree that she's disrespected. She only has to feel disrespected. If she feels disrespected, you have an active crisis in your hands. What are you going to do with it? Let's see. Number three. You say nothing and just all walk away. That's being dismissive. Silence doesn't fix anything. What is context to that? Sometimes silence is all you've got. You definitely don't want to be using talking or anything other than silence when the other person is upset and talking a lot. So it depends on what we mean by that. Silence all in itself, nothing all in itself fixes anything. So if you're talking too much too, in the name of your communicating, it doesn't fix anything either. Silence, in the same token, does not fix anything either. So what fixes something? Well, emotional intelligence. You have to listen. Active listening can fix a whole lot because you gather data, you gather insights to know exactly what you're dealing with before you offer anything, either silence or talking. Let's keep going. She needs reassurance, not distance. If you shut down, what she translates this thing is as she feels rejected, dismissive, dismissed. Even when you go to your man cave, I need some time to think about it. These are major mistakes that a lot of people make. The first one being, let me do a quick recap. There's three things. He said, do you want a happy wife? What do I need a happy wife for? If you're married, you do want a happy wife. There's no need to cap about that, right? Stop downplaying her feeling. Don't listen just to talk back, right? And don't be dismissive. The third thing, let me see, I'm trying to do a quick recap. You need some time to talk about it. Give me some time. Like walking away, right? Walking away, right? So the first thing is, I'm trying to do a quick recap. I keep forgetting because I'm just going through my feed. The first thing is, let me go back again. Let's see. Stop downplaying her feelings. That's number one. Stop downplaying her feelings. Don't listen to flip it on her. Don't listen to respond. Listen to understand. That's called active listening. And don't walk away while she's trying to talk. All right. Don't be this. Don't the walking away. That's a good one. Let me move on to the next one. So I just asked him. I said, "Do you love your wife?" He said, "Yes." Okay, so the person talked very nice, Montel Jordan, the singer Montel Jordan, the 90s singer Montel Jordan. I think he's a pastor now. But he said, I just asked her, do you love your wife? He said, yes. I said, do you want to save your marriage? Do you want to save your marriage? He said, yes. He said, yes. I said, can you place your wife's happiness above your own? Say, can you place your wife's happiness above your own? I could hear somebody say, what do you mean her happiness over mine? She is responsible for her happiness. Cap. Okay? Your cap. Okay? Listen, the only time you're not responsible for her happiness is when you don't care. If you don't care, then there's nothing to argue about here, okay? But if you do care, and this is an issue for you, then responsibility means you are responsible enough to respond in a positive way. It doesn't mean it's your fault. The problem is that you keep confusing it with it means it's your fault. Well, whose fault is it? That yours. Be responsible for your surroundings. Don't just sit down there and say they're responsible for their own happiness. That's bullshit that a lot of people share on social media. Well, listen, at the bare minimum, yes, you are responsible. If you're complaining about your own life, you're responsible for your own happiness. But when you care enough to look at your partner's happiness and it makes a whole difference for you, then you have to feel responsible. You already feel responsible. That's why you're complaining. Not too good to see you, Jerry, my peoples. Okay? Then you have to know that you are responsible for your happiness because now your happiness is attached to the other person's happiness, which is why you're complaining. Right? So if you can look yourself in the mirror and say, well, I care. I don't want him or her to be walking around the house or upset, it affects me, then you should care. Then that affects your happiness. So you're responsible for your happiness. What influences your happiness? Your surrounding, your environment. So you do care. Not what you tell me, what you tell the mirror. If you don't care, problem solved. You just keep it moving. You're right. You're not responsible for their happiness. Okay? So he's asking this person, like, would you put our happiness first? Let's see what he says.
You mean? I said, I mean.
So what do you mean?
Are you willing to place?
Are you willing to place her dreams, wishes, her desires above your own?
He said.
He said, I don't think so.
I don't think I can do that.
I don't think I can do that.
I said, you probably won't stay married then.
So you probably won't stay married then. See, it goes back to one thing. What do you want? If you don't want this, problem solved. We keep it moving, right? He said, well, you're probably not going to stay married then. No, it's just the truth, right?
This shall be the least among us.
But why can't she be responsible for her own happiness? Good question. Let me ask you, why can't she be responsible for her happiness? You tell me. Well, she must be a very bad person. Why are you married to her? Why do you want to be married to her? Let her go. So you can find the person that will make you happy too, right? Yeah. So I didn't think so. You care. If you care enough, then you have to be responsible. Responsible is a good thing. It means you're in control, right? It means you are taking control of your own life, your own outcome. No, not my life, her outcome. Why are you arguing with your destiny? Because honestly, I can't argue with you on that, because if that would be the truth, then problem is solved. Let's keep problem is solved. If the problem is not solved, then let's talk about it. Then you are responsible. Okay? Can you put hers first? You can't. Well, okay. Now, the same rules are applicable back and forth. It depends on who is trying to lead. If you can complain, you can lead.
That's why God has us open doors and pull out chairs.
That's why God has us opening doors, pulling out doors. To lead takes somebody to decrease.
Requires somebody to
wait,
decrease.
what? Go
God
back.
has us open doors and pull out chairs.
Pull out chairs. Because these actions require somebody to decrease.
And if you understand that, decrease in
action actually propels you in your relationship. That's a good one too. Shout out to Montel Jordan.
I stopped to tell you this.
This is a woman.
When you hear news of,
the caption says, before you marry him, note this.
When you hear news of, I married, he abandoned me, he didn't take care of the children, he's this, he's not providing. 9 out of 10 of those gist is as a result of women that sponsored men in marriage.
She said 9 out of 10. I wonder where she got the number from. This is what she's talking about. She said, when you hear anybody tell you this,
I married, he abandoned me,
he abandoned me, he didn't take care of the children.
He's not providing.
She said 9 out of times because you sponsored the man. Wait.
9 out of 10 of those gist is as a result of women that sponsored men in marriage.
Okay, let's keep going. I might agree with that.
No,
I don't agree with the statistics. I don't know where she pulled that out of from, but a lot of cases, yes.
Wait, let me tell you, there's no other way to prove that a man loves you except he spends on you. For God so loved the world that
he
let me tell you, there's no other way to prove that a man loves you except he spends on you.
Except it's the only way a man can prove that he loves you is only if he spends on you. That makes it about money. Ouch, I can't agree with that. I cannot agree with that. Sorry. If it's about money, sex, power, torso, back, see, those things are only surface level, unfortunately.
If a man is not giving, forget.
Hold on 1 second, guys. Hold on, just give me 1 second. Let's see. She said, if God so loved the world that he gave what?
Even the stingiest of the stingy men invest where their heart is.
That's true.
One of the proof of a man's love for you is that he will spend on you. If he has
spend makes it about money. Invest is different from spending. Invest means there's some kind of expectations of return. Spend, you're getting spend can be spent too, can be investing, but it's usually instant return. I enter this Dunkin' Donuts, I pay money, $5, I get this cup of coffee. That's spending. Investments, no, we tend not to use the word investment in that. Now, yes, a man will invest where his heart is. So you should pay attention to how a man is investing. So I'm talking to ladies, if you're dating,
10 naira, he will spend the 9 naira on you. He will spend 5 naira on you. But when you excuse men based on he doesn't have anything, I don't get it. You foot the bills, you pay. Some women pay their own dowry. Let me tell you, that man will
okay,
still
so
wake
a
up.
woman paying her own dowry, I don't agree with that. Sometimes people say you never know. No condition is permanent. It's for the future. I can see the future him. Listen, it's like faith. I can't tell you what to do, right? I can't dictate your own God to you. There's some things that are personal here. But if we're speaking in general, it's not a good idea. It's better to just wait it out, let him invest in himself, come out of it. Typically, it's better to do that than, again, if you're operating by faith, I can't question that. I can only question that so far, but that's the whole point of faith. You know, faith is the evidence of unreal things, things unseen, all those kind of stuff, right? So I'm not supposed to be check you with logic, right? But I'm just saying you might want to be careful with that. If you notice a consistent pattern that you're having to invest in this man, ladies, it's probably a bad idea if you cannot keep up with it for a lifetime. Okay, that man is going to be the feminine part of your polarity. I hope you're masculine enough to handle that. All right. Welcome, Chidima. See you, Chidima. Good afternoon. Happy weekend.
One day, dress up and go and sponsor the one he loves. So that's why you keep hearing after 9 years, after 10 years, he abandoned me. He abandoned you earlier on, but you
the number one reason why you keep hearing after 9 years, after 10 years, the number one reason why you keep hearing is because those are the stories you follow. Those are the stories that also tend to make it to social media. Yeah. Those are the stories. Those are the number one reasons. The other stories where they actually started from scratch together and she might have sponsored the situation, they're not really hanging out on social media sharing the news. They are busy enjoying it. Am I advising to do that? No, I am not advising to do that. I'm saying make sure that everyone coming into a relationship are empowered enough to sustain it. And if you have faith, make sure that you can see some type of light at the end of the tunnel, because I think faith without work is also dead. Try to see that you're seeing some consistency in that person you're investing in. But ladies, if you are the one that's constantly investing in him, it's probably a bad idea. It's just out of order. Let's keep going.
Sensitive to know. Give it time. Don't be so desperate to rush into a relationship where you are not loved. You are the one footing his bills. You are the one paying.
See, I agree with her because
wedding gown, paying for.
I agree with this aspect of what he's saying, which is if you are consistently feeling like you're just on the bad end of the receiving end, it's probably a bad idea. Why don't you give it time? You don't, again, nothing has to be a permanent decision, but you have to watch out for that, you know. Let's keep going.
Also to pay you for paying vendors, everything. What is he doing?
Paying vendors for a wedding.
He doesn't have. God has given him the capacity to go and raise it. At least let him bring 50%. But when you sponsor a man into marriage, anything you see,
I agree. It's a bad idea. Don't sponsor a man into marriage, please, ladies. Don't do that. Give it time. He needs to be sustainable. Unless you are with one of those, one out of every 200,000 men who is just a feminine man, that it will not become an issue later on. What did I say? The odds are against you. The odds are against you. One out of every 100,000. Yes, I pulled the number out of my own ass. The number is worse. She said 1 out of 9. I said no. 1 out of 100,000. The exception. You never know. No, I'm telling you right now, it's probably a bad idea. Be patient. Okay, be patient. Well, why do I keep to all these men are not serious? No, the men you've been hanging out with are not serious. Simbi, how you day? Good to see you. The men you've been hanging around are not serious. Not all these men. There's a lot of good men out here. You need to watch your circle, check your circle, see who you've been hanging out with. The work is still, the leverage is still you. All right, so she has some good points. Somebody said, I'll never do 50-50. The moment you start contributing, they just naturally start slacking in their duties. Well, the language 50-50 is an abomination. It doesn't mean you can't contribute into your relationship, but the language 50-50 is an abomination. There's no such thing. It doesn't exist, so just keep that. All right. This one I'm looking at says how to handle some marriage challenges. Let me see. You can't watch, so I'll watch for you guys. So basically what I'm looking at is a woman is packing out of the husband's house. All right. She says she's done. She put the ring on the table, and she has her bag packed, and she's about to leave. And the man simply carried her bag and put it on her head and said, okay, come on, be going. Yeah, bye. And then she's looking back like, is this serious? It's not going to beg me to stay? And somebody else is coming in with the luggage. Oh, the side chick is coming in with her own luggage. She's moving in immediately, and then the guy hugs the side chick. The side chick is now the main chick, and she's looking on. She has her bag. The main wife has her bag on her head because she's about to leave, but she's coming back in. She's coming back in to compete. She's no longer leaving. No, she doesn't want to leave anymore. She doesn't want to. Now she took the luggage of the side chick, and she's pushing her out now. And the husband is looking like, what is this? What is happening? Oh, she's happy. She took her ring. She took her ring. She put her ring back on. She hugged her husband. They went back inside. I think they're going into the other room. All right. What I just watched is real. Now, a lot of people see that lady that we covered a few days ago. A lot of people are more stuck on, it could be that lady with Chioma, and Chioma, who is actually another, right? Chioma, the girl that they found out that the daughter, that it was actually his daughter, right? That story that's still going viral. She's come out since then, and she's sad. She said they told the husband to leave the house. Now today she came out with Chioma and said Chioma is not her daughter for life. All right, so good for her. Congratulations to her. What I still don't I understand it. What I can still see is that she's still looking for public validation. And yeah, it's always a bad idea. But anyway, some people are more stuck on the fact that it's a skit. A skit cannot go viral if we cannot connect with it, if we can't relate with it. If we can relate, then it's a good lesson to learn from it. Okay, that's all it takes. So it doesn't matter if it's a skit. The only way it can matter is if you attract the craziness you're acting in your skit into your personal life. So that one no concern us anymore. But anytime we see a skit go viral, it doesn't matter if it's fake or not. There's a reason why it goes viral, and there's a lesson in it. Chidima says, I agree with the 50-50 language. I don't like it. However, if I see myself as a stakeholder in my relationship and that ship is sinking, I will put you better. It's called Survivor, right? You're not going to look at your situation that needs help and you can contribute, and you're going to say, no, it's not my job, right? It's the same thing when a man sees that a sink is piling up with unclean plates, and it's like, well, it's not my job to clean the sink. Yeah, your problem is probably deeper than the sink, but let's look at that. Well, why can't you wash the sink? Why can't you clean the sink? What's the big deal? It's your life, it's your own. You're looking at your life falling apart, and you're not going to do something about it. Well, that's the kind of language we're hearing out here in the street. But absolutely, Chidima. Let's see. So again, this story here speaks to how much we don't realize that we suck at gratitude. Okay, the story I just shared with you, the one on TikTok here, this lady that took off her ring and she's about to move on. A lot of us operate from that place. We're upset, we're angry, we're asking for our rights. It's not your right, when in reality what you're dealing with is actually a privilege. you know. But you're not gonna see that it's a privilege until it's taken away from you, you know. So shout out to Uncle Patrick. Uncle Patrick, are they on the road though? I'm just chilling though. Welcome to my family, Prestige family. We had some weird mobile bots that came in earlier on, but they left. Thank goodness. All right, so it is a lot of time we operate from a place of there's a key to happy marriages, happy relationship. The key is really unity. That's the goal. That's the moving target. Unity, right? The moving target is unity. You're just trying to be on the same page with the other person, right? But it's a moving target because you might be on the same page today and next day you're not on the moving, so things change and things are evolving always, right? So it makes it a moving target. But if you've mastered active listening, then it's easy. It's super easy because you don't feel the need to have all the answers. You can just listen and you can say, let me think about that, and you can come back to it, right? You can take your time to process an information, an event that just happened. You can take your time on it, right? As opposed to gra 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 gra, you must have answer right now. Actually, you don't have answer. You're just overreacting. Something triggered your sense of security. Something has become a form of threat for you. It might not be a real threat, but your husband, your wife said something and it triggered you and it made you feel unsafe. They did something that it does not sit well with your core. You can't even put your finger on it, right? You don't even know what you're looking at, but you know how you feel. You know that your sense of security has been tampered with. So what do you typically do? You overreact in 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 efforts to protect yourself. Well, usually that's not a good idea. Okay, how about, yes, I am having an experience right now. I don't understand what it is, but I'm going to take my time. I can ask questions, I can collect information, we can collect data, and then go and process it, and then we'll come back to it. You know what usually happens? You would have been calm, you taking your time. The person might have realized that they were wrong, right? Or the person might be in a better position where they can actually receive what you are saying to them, how they feel. So imagine a woman who jumps out there and says, I'm leaving, I'm packing. Back in the days, they used to show that to us in Nollywood. I've never seen it in real life, but you know, so you run out there and then you're just trying to leave. You pack, and the guy said, yeah, come on, be going. Not exactly in a dismissive way, but at least in real life, maybe you can. If your wife suddenly says she's leaving and she takes the ring out of her hand and she puts it on the day table, instead of you going AYA and start going crazy and start cursing her out or start begging, see, that's too extreme of both ends. Either of those two behaviors is not going to help you, right? Instead, first of all, can we stop pretending that we didn't know how our marriage got to that place? You know exactly how your marriage got into that place. Okay? You know how it happened. If you can just sit calm for a second, you can think back into the last 48 hours, maybe last 2 weeks, and say, well, I didn't think she was going to leave, but she's leaving. You can say, I understand. That's essentially what that skit. The skit overacted it, and they made it look like, yeah, come and be going. It's not come and be going exactly. It's just knowing that that's another individual, and they feel like they need to leave. Right? Your key, one of the major keys to success in relationship and marriage, is learning how to let go. Right? Learning how to let go of what? The person? No, not necessarily the person. Not necessarily the person, but yes, the person too, potentially, right? But I'm talking about your urge to control that moment, to control the narrative, your desire, your urge to shalaye, your urge to beg. Let me just apologize so they can get over it. Those things actually destroy more, because if you're quick to apologize, there's a good chance that you have oversupply of apologies in your relationship, and it has no more value. So they don't trust you, right? So why don't you, for once, flip it? For once, chill, relax. You don't have to have an answer. Without being dismissive, engage with active listening. They want to leave, you're leaving? Where are you going? Oh, what happened, babe? You're leaving? You're leaving me? Wow. Right? Now, this will only work. What I just did will only work if I tend to normally overreact. Right? Now, let's flip it on the other end. Let's say you're the one that tends to be dormant. You're dismissive. For the first time, why don't you say, don't leave, I appreciate you? Flip it, right? For the first time, don't go from 0 to 100 because your wife took the ring off and put it on the table. Instead, say, you're leaving. No, I cannot let you go. Maybe for the first time, they are seeing you fight and saying, no, I don't want you to go. I know I was upset yesterday, I know, but I don't want you to go. They want to see that. They want to see that other side, right? So there's so many things going on in that same moment right there. There is attraction going on. There's attraction at play. There's seduction going on at there's seduction when you are able to know that this is what I usually do, but I'm going to do something different. That's active seduction skills right there, right? And instead of you just flying off the handle and do what you typically do when you lose control of your emotions, okay? But letting go is key in all of this. Letting go is key, but I don't mean let go physically. Let go of your need to be right. Let go of your urge to shalaye, to control the narrative. Who typically is able to let go? A person who is confident in themselves, a person who knows that this heaven is not going to fall out of the skies no matter what happened today, right? It looks like my whole world is about to fall apart, but it's not. That level of faith is another level of faith that most people don't have, right? And quite frankly, it's very difficult to have when you find yourself in crisis. Everything I'm saying is easier said than done. If you care enough and you find yourself in crisis, the first thing you will do is overreact. That goes for all of it. What does overreact look like to me and you? To me, it might be different. To that lady is filming everybody and then casting her whole family on the internet, right? To you, it might be you shut him down for the next 3 months. You're not going to give him sex for the next 3 months. Everybody's overreaction is, you know, but the point is that in that relationship is toxic, and both sides knows that it's toxic. One person is on the receiving end, the other person is also receiving, they're collecting, but they are actively trying to make sure you feel their level of pain, and they're doing it the wrong way, of course. Very, very difficult stuff to do. Uncle Patrick says, I've always overreacted after long patience. Please advise. After long patience, overreacted. So you have to be very active in your patience. So that wasn't actually patience. Okay, it's there's some patience that you have that is you're probably just being dormant, right? So there's a lot of people that misinterpret a quiet person as their patient. Actually, it's their own way of overreacting. A person who is keeping silent, or they're just quiet because they don't know what to do, or they're afraid of reacting, may also call themselves patient. So patience in my in my context is you are actively intentional. You actually can almost see the end of this journey. It's a journey you're getting on. It's an active behavior. It's not a passive behavior. So maybe there's something called passive patience, and then there's active patience. There is passive patience where you're just waiting it out, right? But then you wait so long, but eventually you're waiting, you're hurting. Then you're going to overreact. But if you're actively waiting and you're listening in to what is actually going on with the other person, well, starting with you, your own emotions, then you're not going to overreact because you're actively listening in every moment, right? You're actively listening every moment. Why? Because you're trying to see the overall picture. You're trying to get the bigger picture before you even offer anything, offer any type of value, right? So if you overreact after a long quietness, maybe a long, like some people will say silence is golden, but they use silence wrongly, right? They just becoming a doormat in their relationship. I don't advise that. I don't want you to be a doormat in your relationship. I don't advise men to be Mr. Nice Guys, because Mr. Nice Guys, that's why I said they're manipulative. They're waiting for their turn to take it out on you, as opposed to waiting to actually add value into the relationship. You see? So if there's a long quiet coming from you and you call it patience, yeah, we can call it patience, but it's too passive and your emotions are building up, and yes, you will overreact. But if you're intentional and you say, I'm patiently waiting because I know that this too shall pass. This is a season, right? If you're doing that, then you know, you would just take that opportunity of that, you go give some value to yourself. Maybe you take some time away, you walk away somewhere, you go to grab a drink with some friends or something like that, right? But you come back, because you already know by the time you come back the other person is calm and they can receive better from you, plus you've had the time to process it too, right? Now that's the kind of patience I talk about. So I don't want anybody to be doing patience blindly and thinking that when they come back and then the person is not ready. That's why some people will say, well, I've apologized, I've begged you so many times, what else do you want from me? See, they're getting frustrated. That wasn't patience. That wasn't patience. They were just it's like waiting to respond. It's like listening to respond. That's not active listening. So similar, sir. Very similar, sir. Letting go of the urge to control, urge to be right. Yes. Learning how to let go of immediate reaction, active listening. Yes. Let me be vulnerable. I took off the ring on several times, not to cheat, but being tired of the marital crisis. Wow, sir. That's crazy, sir. That's crazy. Thanks for the vulnerability, Uncle Patrick. How did you recover from that? Yeah, I've been through that. I've never taken off my ring by myself. I have threatened divorce at vividly. One time, there's one time that I remember vividly. It was 5 years into my marriage, and I was just tired. I was just can I use the language tired? It just felt like I didn't like it felt like the marriage wasn't the ideal that I had in my head. I felt like I was talking to a wall, you know. I'm the type that want to talk out everything if there's an issue. I feel like you should feel free to come to me, right? But I was disconnected from that. I'm also responsible for making the person feel safe to come and talk to me. I was also disconnected from, it might not be my fault that they don't feel safe. There might have been other issues. Like, for example, in-law issues, my parent issue, her parent issues, all this kind of stuff, you know, there's a lot going on, right? I was disconnected from that, but I just wanted her to, because I felt free. I felt like I could come to her and tell her anything. And I thought that should be, I was a good guy. And I felt like that's all it takes to attract a good woman, or a woman who is behaving goodly, right? And once I got hit with crisis, I didn't know what to do with myself. So there was one particular event, she wasn't listening. She brought a friend around. The friend was also being disrespectful, and she was being disrespectful after I showed some attitude, and that one was trying to protect her. It was just mess. It was just a mess. So I forgot. I'm trying to remember now. I remember her mom got on the phone with me. Her mom said, she said, I've told the story before. She said, like Ondo people, they have agidi, they have coconut head. It's a saying. It's actually a stereotypical saying that, honestly, apparently the whole world know that they say that about Ondo people, and I didn't know. I took an offense to it, because if I knew it was a typical saying, it wouldn't have that much weight, impact on me. But it affected me. It felt crazy. I was like, wait, what do you say? I felt like she was attacking the Ondo people. Now, let me be vulnerable, right? It wouldn't be the first time I heard something like that. My own parents have some special, interesting things to say about the Egba people too. It's just that we don't say it to their face. I mean, I didn't say them, but they said it, and I heard them. But they are usually things that they are saying to protect me, their own child, right? And I didn't make much of it because I think it's natural to protect your own children. But the one thing that my parents didn't do is they didn't get my wife on the phone and be telling her that that's what's wrong with you Egba people. My parents typically would not do something like that. Well, her mom did. Her mom is a no nonsense person. And once she did that to me on the phone, I think I hung up on her that day. I was pissed off completely. So I think I told her, I said, I think I want a divorce. That was the first and last time I ever say something like that. Well, that was around 5-year mark into our marriage. I think that thing haunted us because she never felt quite safe. After that, again, she continued. It continued to haunt her, not me, but it continued to. She told me after the fact, like at around 8-9 years point in our marriage, it was one of the things that came up as part of the breakdown that we had in the marriage. You know, so now in terms of taking off the ring, she took off the ring at least about 2 times. The second time I took off the ring, as there were 2 reasons why I took off the ring, because at this point in time I started to be super intentional about how I move when it comes to the marriage, the relationship, or even my love life, period. It became super intentional. And I knew that, so as part of my sense of dignity, I took up the ring. That's number one reason, but it was as a response to her. I would have never taken off my ring if she didn't take it off. Once she took it off the second time, I was like, there's no need for me to be wearing a ring for a wife that took off her ring. You know, I didn't see the reason to do that. It was, from my personal standpoint, it was a sense of dignity for me. I was letting go of the marriage. I was like, it's okay. Okay. So that's one of the reasons why I partly, majorly take part in the breakdown of our marriage that we had at the 8 years mark. At that time, we had been together for 10 years. Well, we've been together now for 20 years. So, yeah. So I feel what you're saying there, sir. So if somebody takes off their ring, and if it's a first time, just know that it's not the end of the world. Know that it's probably something temporary. Know that there's a breakdown in your relationship. There's something that you need to pay attention to. Know that you need to seek help. First, you seek help first. Don't drag them to counseling session. There's clearly something going on that you don't understand, because if you did, you will be attracting a woman or a wife or a husband who will never take their ring off. A person taking off their ring is frustrated with your relationship, not necessarily with you, with their own life. Okay, a lot of times I came to find out long after that a lot of things my wife was dealing with had nothing to do with me. So how's that fair? It is fair, because you chose to be with that person. It's very, very fair, you know. Very, very important stuff. So let me see here. Shout out to Uncle Patrick for being vulnerable. I've always seen the positive side of whatever problem. Couple with cancer and marriage seminars, awesome. Yeah, I have taken off ring too, not to say. Yeah. So I took my own ring off out of dignity to self. I always position myself to protect my dignity first, because I believe that she will not be attracted to a man, or my wife, whoever my wife is, whoever that is, cannot be attracted to a person that lacks dignity. So I'm not going to trade her for anything ever, you know. And I also know that it's probably something temporary. I should come to find out it is temporary. So I took the ring off as like, it's not, she was protesting, and me, I was like, I understand. That's my way of saying I understand. All right, so now some people might say, well, if you take it off, I will take it as confirmation. Maybe that's true, you know. But again, self first. Self power, social seduction, attraction, emotional intelligence. And when I say self, I mean emotionally. If you don't have confidence in yourself, you're probably not going to have a good relationship anyway. Okay. And if your wife, your husband is acting in a certain way that makes you question your own self-confidence, you probably should deal with that first before you can possibly fix the relationship. Okay. But all of this needs to be intentional from an emotional intelligence standpoint, not just intentionally pulling out cameras. Remember that conversation that I had with I was having a conversation with Uncle Patrick and Uncle Beno 2 days ago. Was it 3 years ago? And Uncle Beno, he was saying that the lady pulling out the camera like it's some kind of logical behavior. I was like, no, you know, she might have intentionally did that. She might have preconceived that, right? But when I say intentional, I always say intentional from an emotional intelligence standpoint. That means you are seeing beyond just what you're looking to get immediately. You're also looking at the bigger picture. You're looking at the long-term impact of your actions. All right. So all of it, you're right, is intentional, maybe even logical. I don't know, logical with respect to what? That's why I said if we're comparing two things, what's emotional, what's logical, right? Emotional actions are actions, actual real actions, physical action you're doing, but it's being triggered by your emotions. Logical means you've tried because all of us are emotional people, but you've tried your best to apply some logic with respect to long-term results that you're looking to generate for you, your ward, your partner, and all that. So letting go is the key here. Let's go. Once the man let go, what happened? she now suddenly wants to come back in. Everybody wants what they can't get. Everybody wants a piece of what they can't have. The only thing that everybody wants is what they can't have. All right? Yes, I'm making that kind of like an absolute, right? But in generally speaking, what most people want is what they can't have, which is why you cannot afford to be complacent. You cannot afford to be oblivious in your relationship. You have to pay attention. You can't afford to be predictable. Chronic predictability will kill attraction in your relationship because it's boring. It's boring, right? So there's a place for security, safety. There's a place for varieties, adding some spice in your relationship. Don't be so predictable, right? Maybe it's, you know, randomly you just buy a gift if you know that gift giving is love language to your partner. Randomly, if you know act of service is their thing, randomly you make their life easier. You provide some kind of service, right? An act of service, right? So if you do it every day, it doesn't matter if it's their love language. If you do it every day, there is oversupply of it. What happens when you have oversupply of anything in life? It loses its value. That's why when people say just apologize for what? What are you apologizing for? It's like, well, if you are the one that tends to apologize first so you can brush issues under the rug, they eventually know where you're coming from. It's annoying. As a matter of fact, your apology is actually annoying, you know. And if you're the one that never receive apology, what I just said sound like gibberish to you. See? Because you never had it. So you want somebody to once in the life of your relationship admit to the wrong and actually admit to it. And you want that. Why? Because you don't have it. But if you have too much of it, you will say that's all you do. You don't change your behavior. You just apologize all the time. You know? Very, very important. Chidima says, Uncle Patrick, that is a good and healthy mindset. I appreciate you sharing. Uncle Patrick said, our last marriage seminar, coincidentally, all couples at the seminar were asked to look into the eyes of each other and say, I'm not your enemy. That's interesting. That is interesting. So let me go to the next one here. Let's see.
Helps a man fulfill
the purpose of a
his
wife
potential.
Is to help a man,
which means
fulfill his potential. Let's go back again.
wife
The purpose of a wife.
a man
This is a guy, his name is Myron Golden. I follow him slightly. You know, Myron Golden. He said the purpose of a wife is this.
fulfill his potential.
To help a man fulfill his potential.
Helps a man fulfill his potential. Which means a man can be more with a wife than without a wife.
A man can be more with a wife, can be more in terms of becoming a bigger, better version of himself than without a wife. Gentlemen, it's not your space. It is not your position to say we strike. We decided we don't want women anymore. Everything you're saying there is so unnatural. It is retarded. Excuse my French. You're lying to yourself. You're lying to yourself. You're capping big time and you know it. You know it. But let's say you don't even know it. Let's say you're angry. You're overreacting. We'll be talking about overreacting, right? You just overreacting to all these women that will never appreciate a man for a man. I get it. Okay. But you don't want to now be following a woman or a woman's emotion. You still want to be a man. Okay. See, a lot of men are following women emotional overreactions, especially on social media. And if you do that, you'll become less of a man. Because you're supposed to be a man. You're supposed to be enough. You carry the seeds. You're supposed to be more than enough. Self-sustainable. I didn't say you can sustain a lineage, but you can sustain yourself at least. You can feed yourself. You can survive, at least from a physical standpoint. There's only one other thing you're looking for. You're looking for a woman to bring that energy that will multiply, that will make it beautiful, right? Can you do that for yourself? Yes. No, you can't. Now, can you get sex? Yes, you can buy sex. Okay. Oh, you didn't say bye. Well, yes, you can get sex. Okay, especially in this sexual liberation world that we're in right now. There's more than enough women that will give you sex because them too they look to knock just to release, right? But what happens when you have too much of that? When you have, if you're a fine boy, you get enough of that. Eventually, it gets watered down. Let me tell you something about a wife. Oh, they age like wine. Oh, you didn't know. Ah, no, it's not the look. All of us will get older, get wrinkles. It's not that. If you know, you know. They age like wine. If you don't know, you don't know too. So let's keep it moving. A purpose of a wife is to help a man reach his fullest potential. Let's keep going.
A lot of guys don't want to be married because, well, but then I'm stuck with this one person. Yeah, but
a lot of guys don't want to be married because they're stuck with this person. So I like an immature person, but there are immature 60-year-old men out there. So it's possible. You never know, right? Chidima says overreacting to modern women. That is so feminine. Shake my head. We have a lot of them. That's essentially what we call the manosphere today, by the way.
That's what they stuck with you too, bro. That stuck thing is a two-way street.
That stuck thing is a. You say if you say you're gonna be stuck with her, the stuck thing is a two-way street. She's also stuck with you. Let's see.
Like all of us would be better off being in a relationship that we are in covenant with, that we can't just run away from because it's hard.
All of us are better being in a relationship that you're in covenant with, that you can't just run away from. See, I told you, freedom is the freedom. Freedom or liberty is the ability to do the right thing when you want to do the right thing. It's not the ability to do anyhow, to do anything anyhow. That's self-destruction. It's only a matter of time before you see it in real life. You don't want that kind of freedom, and that's not really freedom when you can just do anyhow, right? Somebody said, let's just do what is it? Companionship. Companionship. Why are you looking for companionship? If they don't want commitment, they're not healthy. Okay, that aspect of them is not healthy. If they don't want commitment, because anything that's worthwhile in life requires what? You know, my wife is calling me. Can you guys still hear me, by the way? Let me see if I can call her from here. Hold on 1 second, guys. Just hold on. Hold tight. Hold tight, guys. Hold tight. All right. She's not picking up. Hold on, guys. Just hold on. Hold tight. You guys still there with me? Chinya says very random. Yes, very random. And shout out to the Mom of 5 too. Mom of 5, I'm trying to catch you on your live session so I can come and hang out. Answering her call is commitment. Anything that's worthwhile in life is commitment. Sorry, anything that's worthwhile in life requires commitment. What is commitment? Commitment is saying you do something, and you say you do something. You set that commitment in a certain mood, right? And what do we know about moods? Somebody says it's only hard to have mood swings. No, we all have mood swings, but I know what you mean. Mood, right? Mood changes, right? People's mood change. Say I'm smiling right now. In the next 2 hours, you come and see me, I might be a little grumpy, right? Maybe because I'm hungry or something. So, what am I trying to say there? I'm trying to tell you this. But you still need that commitment because you don't want to be running your life on mood, on just your mood. So you set a commitment. That's the whole point of marriage. You have a commitment, right? You have a commitment to a person. But why do we say God? Because it's a witness, a higher being, a higher version of yourself that you commit to, that both of you decide in unity to commit to, right? So if you have that, People are not just going to act anyhow. Who can act anyhow? Somebody said women can act anyhow. Like all of us can act anyhow. Anybody can decide one day. But what keeps you there? Commitment. Commitment is a positive. It's not a negative. See, when you find yourself in very bad places in life, commitment looks like a negative. It looks like you're stuck. It looks like there are bars around you, like you're in a jail, like you're in a prison, right? That makes sense. It makes sense. It makes sense. However, that does not negate the importance of commitment in life. Anything that you're enjoying today, bridges, big buildings, high rises, technology, computer, the person that built this app, required commitment. Oh yeah, they had moments too that they were like, I don't know if I can continue this. They had moments where they have collected 20, I have a few friends that have collected $20 million to go and start apps in Nigeria, but the app never came to fruition. You think they're happy about that? They committed to it. They committed to it to a point where somebody saw something believable. They collected $20 million. Venture capitalists put money in. At some point, they realized there's no future. There's no future to the app. Guess what they do? Well, yeah, we committed to something. It didn't work out. We keep it move. We move, right? Because the powers that be, no, more like the winners, not the losers. The winners of this world, they understand commitment. And they understand that sometimes you commit and then it still doesn't pan out the way you thought it would. They understand that. It is only marriage and personal relationship that we're super disrespectful to. Shout out to Black Diamond. It's only marriage and relationship that we're super disrespectful to. Well, marriage is a scam. No, your whole life is a scam if we really want to go that angle. But anything that's worthwhile in life requires another person to commit, right? Because you just committing, you can't just commit to yourself. What's the point of that? That means you can break the rule. That's tyranny. You can break the rule anytime. But you commit to another person. The other person now is not your friend now. They're getting on your nerves in this moment. So what's the fastest thing to do when you don't have a commitment, when it's just companionship? What's the fastest things to do? You just say, there's nothing here. We just keep it moving. We move. By the way, a person that's selling you lack of commitment, it doesn't mean they don't care about you, but they don't really see that future with you yet. That's just what that is. Okay? So yes, long after the mood that you set that commitment in has left you, you said you're going to do something, but you still do it, even though it might not feel good in that moment. Feeling good is feeling good. It's just the feel good of the now. What do we know about the feel good of the now? It can change. It can go back and forth, right? But what happens when you have commitment? You're not just going to leave and run away because there's commitment, right? And you have a commitment to honor. It's part of the honorable things you would do in your life, right? Are there situations where you can't just continue that commitment? Yes, when your safety is threatened. Safety first always. Okay? When your safety or another human being's safety is threatened, then screw commitment. You cannot commit because you don't feel safe. Okay? So again, he says the purpose of a wife.
If you are going to be married, it is going to be hard sometimes. Because
if you are going to be married, it is going to be hard sometimes. Is that just marriage? That's not marriage. That's life. That's life. That's not just marriage. I don't know why we keep making this about marriage. That's why I'm like, this is not about marriage. People start to water down what it takes to have a successful marriage, like things like commitment. When I see people try to water it down, I say, it's a bad idea. Don't do that. Don't try to water down what it takes to have a successful anything you care about. Don't water it down. It takes work. Anything that's worthwhile in life takes work. It takes time. It takes patience. It's not just marriage. It's just life. It's business, right? Somebody said, well, I don't want it to feel like transactional. Keyword being feeling. It is still transactional because human beings are transactional. You don't want it to be transactional? Oh, focus on giving. I didn't say give or take. Focus on giving. Focus on giving. You don't have enough to give to yourself first. Focus on give, not give and take. See, when you focus on giving, taking is for kids, for children. That's for losers. Taking is for losers. You will receive from all kind of angle, from everywhere. Of course, from your partner too. You receive. It's inevitable. It's a natural order of things. When you give so much, you sow so much, right? You will reap. But if you say give and take, your focus is not give, it's take. You are looking, your expectations are off now. So the day that person is acting, they're in a mood. And they make you feel like, and you now say, they should reciprocate. Life is a reciprocation. Do you know what reciprocation means? It means somebody start first and then they reciprocate. It doesn't mean simultaneous. Life is a dance. Marriage is a dance, right? It's a back and forth. Sometimes you hold them, sometimes you move this way. Sometimes they're weaker, sometimes you're stronger. So where do you start from? Give to yourself. Focus on self. Focus on self. Let me see here. So make sure that, yeah, okay. Focus on self. Give to yourself. You have enough to give to other people. You're going into a relationship. You go there, you go and give. So what if I'm giving so much and they don't reciprocate? Give to yourself. Stop giving to the other person. Give to yourself so you can attract who you are. See, there's certain people that just can't be in your world. Once you have the certain level of value you get to, that you're not going to attract nonsense. They will self-eject. It's only a matter of time. Okay? And like I said, if you're in harm's way, remove yourself. It doesn't have to be a permanent decision.
Yourself. In fact, you probably married the opposite of yourself.
You cannot marry yourself.
And marry yourself.
You can't marry yourself.
You probably, wait. If you are going to be married,
if you're going to be married,
it's going to be hard sometimes.
It is going to be hard sometimes.
You did not marry yourself.
You didn't marry yourself. It is going to be hard sometimes.
In fact, you probably married the opposite.
You married the opposite. If you were doing kwekus to prick at some point and it was so enjoyable, you married the opposite. 9 out of 10 chances. You married somebody who doesn't think the way you think. You married somebody from a different family. No, it felt good at that point. There was sexual polarity. You thought you were in love with that person. No, you were in love with that person. But then, you know, life happens.
Of yourself. And opposites attract.
Opposite attract.
Until they attack. A wife.
Opposite attract until they attack. But he said something though. You must be in covenant. Covenant is the commitment. The covenant is between you and God. Okay, you need a certain level of spirituality. You have to be a spiritual person for this to. If you're overly logical, you can't survive it, because it won't make sense. There's a lot of things that just won't make sense to you. Okay, you think they're supposed to be an adult. Like, why don't you just be an adult? Why is it that they don't train these people? We need to train our sons better. The issue is not that. Oh, I promise you, 9.999% time out of the times, you know, my numbers are off now. It is not any of that stupid stuff. It's because you find yourself in a position of opportunity to learn, to discover this person, to actually learn them, but it's threatening your sense of security. You didn't know this person. In fact, you feel a sense of betrayal now because you didn't know this person that has shown up in your marriage. 2 years into the marriage, you discovered that this person is completely different from what you thought. Actually, what you thought was an Hollywood movie. Yeah, sorry. It was an Hollywood movie. Let's see. Okay, she's ready. Hold on 1 second, guys. All right, so I'm telling you, it's rough. It's easier said than done, but once you know it, it gets easier. Okay, once you know it, it becomes easier. Once you practice, it becomes easier. There's let me see. Let me come and read some of these comments. These comments are lit. Yes, $20 million, even more. People, $20 million. Yeah, all the apps, Florida Wave, all this stuff that you guys are enjoying in Nigeria right now. Somebody raised money. Somebody believed in somebody. Somebody gave them millions of dollars to be paying salaries while they're building those things out. Eventually became technology that you're enjoying today. Okay, I'm still in the middle of listening to a guy called Opeyemi Inyola. Is the guy is one of the managing directors with Florida Wave before he's moved on to other things, but somebody trusted him, and a lot of opportunities like that have been lost. Like it didn't come out right. But that's how they win. If they play 10 times, one wins, it's a jackpot. It feels like a jackpot, but it looks like overnight success. But there's no such thing. That's powerful. You don't want to be running your life with mood. You have to be commitment. Marriage is number 100% commitment. Thanks a lot. Thank you, Uncle Patrick. I love what you said about commitment. Man of proceed, sticking to it despite change of mood. Yes, Chidima, absolutely. Yeah. Unless one exception, safety. Safety. If you're not here, you cannot do marriage. So if he doesn't feel safe, leave first. If he doesn't feel safe emotionally, leave first. You can come back to it. You can always repair things. Correction, you have to be committed. Yes, commitment is for adults. Black Diamond says absolutely. Your partner should feel safe. Yes. Yep. Safety first. Safety first. You cannot do commitment if people don't feel safe. That goes for all genders. I said all genders, like a Gen Z. All genders. Commitment is the key to success. It's a requirement for all. Yes. So many immature people out here in these streets. Focus on self. Word on marble. Shout out to Abosede. Oh, I was just about to ask that question. Thanks for answering. I'm glad I answered it. Whatever that question was. Yeah. Give to self. Give to self. Take care of your. I think that's what you're talking about. Give to self. This one day I decided to come live on a mobile phone. That buzzing my phone up. Somebody said, I love being married, love my husband, and it's a beautiful feeling. Love the connection with God. Shout out. There's a lot of people. If you follow the right content, there are people that are married and they love being married. And if that's not your story, it can change. It's possible. Okay. After a 6-month separation with my husband comes. This is a caption. Caption says, marriage testimony, how we fell in love again after infidelity. After a 6-month separation with my husband comes back and he says to me, I feel like I'm falling in love with you all over again. And after 6 months in separation, he said, I feel like I'm falling in love with you. It happens all the time. So, yeah. Is that good news? Happens all the time. We just don't publicize it because we have to protect. We don't want monitoring people eating up people's success story either. Because sometimes the negativity that comes to this internet, you're like, you know what? Then when I knew that God did exactly what he said he would. In 2018 and 2019, my husband and I separated, and it was during that time that not only were we physically apart, but there was also infidelity. There was infidelity. Yes, I stayed because I am obedient to God, and I trust in the power. She says she stayed because she's obedient to God. Because what? God. And for a total of a little over a year, we were separate from each other, not really talking, not really around each other. But it was at the end of 2019 where God restored our marriage, and we've been together ever since, y'all. We make 9 years married this year. Since 2019, they've been together. 9 years marriage. And we give all the glory to God. I've been able to forgive. I've been able to overcome. I'm no longer triggered. She's been able to forgive. She's been able to overcome. She's no longer triggered. I'm no longer bothered by what happened. And we are loving and serving each other the exact way that God needs us to. And since then, I've been helping married couples and married individuals overcome marital separation and infidelity. Not only do I offer one-on-one coaching calls, but I've also created a marriage restoration e-course for those that are not really ready to commit to full-time coaching. So she's selling something, which is shout out to her story. Let's see here. Continue here.
How can you claim that you are a married person?
How can you claim?
You cannot boldly display that you are married. For example,
how can you claim you're a married person? You cannot boldly display that you're married. That is some weird behavior. That's a very, very weird behavior. Uncle Patty said, what is more important in marriage is build or focus on the positive side of one another. Yes. Let me spell out what you just said, Uncle Patrick, that there is a negative side of everybody's partners, including the partner, the other person's partner you're fantasizing about. Everybody has a negative side. So, for example, considering how your wife have helped you with your career or finance, appreciating her for that. Say, I'm sorry, but the lady in the background sounds fishy to me. Well, she sold something. Maybe that's why you could hear that she was about to sell something. Well, we have to tell our stories to sell something. So I'm not judging her on that because I do similar stuff. I just don't do overselling here. But I get it. I know what you mean.
example, you claim you are married, you cannot use your ring. You claim you are married, your spouse cannot answer your phone call on your behalf. You claim you are married, you are locking your phone with password so that your spouse cannot even have access to your phones. I mean, your loyalty is being tested. If you must enjoy marriage, you must know that you must be fully devoted to your spouse.
I like what you just said. If you must enjoy marriage, you must be fully devoted to your spouse. Okay? You can't, marriage is like life. You cannot do it half-ass. You can't say, well, I have to make sure that they love me better than I love them. If you say stupid stuff like that, you go collect to, I don't have my buttons here. Right? No, I have to make sure, my mother told me, somebody said the other, I forgot who said, my mother told me that, make sure that he loves you more than you love him. If you follow those kind of weirdo advice, you go collect. Like I said, you have to focus on giving. If you don't feel so strong that you're willing to devote everything, fully invested in it, marriage is not by force. So, you can actually be single and be happy for the rest of your life. It's not by force. Oh, it's not. And thank God for sexual liberation. You can find Kwekus pricks around the corner. Just make sure you stay safe. There's also protection. Thank God we're not in the 70s. Make sure you stay safe out there. But don't punish yourself, aka punish another person's son or daughter, because you're thinking, they must love you. Why is it stupid? Oh no, logically, if you're doing ones and math and zeros and ones, like scientific, and you don't have any metrics to measure emotions, it no go make sense to you. Emotions no be your mates. Once you engage a person and you start to hang out with them and you are having a good time, at some point you want them to all to yourself. At some point, jealousy, envy, it's not your mate, because they are emotions. It's not stuff you decide, I'm going to decide today I'll be envy today, I'll be envious today, I'll be jealous today. It's not a decision. There are certain emotions that, all emotions, when they overwhelm you, it's not a decision. You just find out that I feel some type of way. I don't know how I feel. I just feel some type of funny way. Be careful with if you're not fully devoted, if you're not going to be fully devoted, don't do it. Now, there's a fine line between, I don't know if I can be fully devoted or I'm operating from a place of fear. In social media era, if you watch too many bad stories in relationship, marriage stories, of course, it will tamper with your sense of confidence. What else? Your sense of safety. What else? And you say, Allah said, if I don't feel safe, you need help. You might need healing. Okay? If you can't be a normal person, as in like a normal person, you found a guy who is everything that you've ever asked for, but your mind keeps going to the negative. Your mind keeps reminding you of all the negative experience you've had. And you keep wondering if this is another opportunity for the devil to get you. You need healing. Because that's not okay. Okay, because you want what you want, but you can't have what you want because you'll be self-sabotaging every opportunity. But on a normal day, as per normal, if you wake up and you say, I don't want marriage, it's perfectly fine. Don't go and be saying, I want to, because you see, when they say, when one person will leave their family and leave their husband and their mother, no, they leave their father and their mother to go and cleave. It's real. What do you mean it's real? It's real. It's real, as in like you become one. As in like at some point, if you do it well, you will start finishing each other's sentences. But that's the least part of it. That's the smallest part of it. I'm talking about it's real. Your world is entangled up. Well, you must make your own money. That sentence, if you still feel that way, you're not fully devoted. You're not fully devoted. Now, you might be coming from a place of hurt. You might be trying to protect yourself, I watch a lot of stuff come on my feed. And somebody said, if I was to do it all over again, that's the point. Stop advising people that are doing it fresh. Let them go through their own journey. If you want to prepare them, have them learn how you mastered your own emotions and how you handled conflict. Teach them that. Don't teach them all the basketballs and all the that you've collected in your marriage. Okay, you can teach them, but can you balance it? How did you come out of it? What would you do better? Without telling them that they should go and make their own money. Why didn't you go back into the past and make your own money? I do think everybody should be productive. everybody should be productive, but there is a certain spirit that comes with make your own money that's just not right. Okay, that's not going to come out right. It's going to backfire badly, right? If your energy, like, I'm going to make my own money, I'm going to make my own money. Human beings, we don't, that multitasking thing is a lie. You invest. Somebody said earlier, you invest where your heart is. And when I say invest, invest all in. As in, like, you're all in. That's naturally what you would do if you're a healthy person and you're falling in love with another person. Well, can you collect with in terms of, can they hurt you? Yes, it's a risk. Guess what else is a risk? Life. Welcome to the real world. Life is a risk. Let's look at another one.
Watch this. I think I'm falling out of love with my spouse. We used to be so happy, and now we just argue all the time. Maybe I married the wrong person. Husband and wife, come close. This video.
Maybe you married the wrong person.
Sit down, relax. Let's watch this video together. Let's watch. Don't forget, hit on the like button. Go to the comment section.
Get to the point now.
Share this video to your friends and family.
These people gonna surf.
Click on the save button if you are busy, so that you don't miss out this video. It's going to teach us a lot. We feel passionate and excited about the person. You know, there's a secret about marriage that most parents don't tell their children. The feeling of love is actually one of the worst reasons to get married. Wait, what? But isn't
the
that
feeling of love is one of the worst reasons to get married? Okay.
Why people get married? Most of us do get married because we fall in love. We feel passionate and excited about this person.
Yes,
but
yes,
here's the
yes.
thing. That passionate love naturally fades over time.
I know.
So you're saying it's normal to feel less in love over time? Yes, because being in love is actually all about you. The feelings you experience, happiness, excitement, infatuation.
That's all you.
When those fade, we think there's something wrong. So
yes.
What should marriage be built on then? A foundation that includes self-awareness, emotional intelligence, kindness, respect, thoughtfulness, patience, humility, loyalty, and accountability. That sounds like a lot of work.
That sounds like also the way Corinthians define love, right? Well, it sounds like a lot of work. Anything that's worthwhile in life requires work. Work is a positive thing. Work is a blessing, isn't it? The mom of I says situations can contribute to a spouse falling out of love. No, it's absolutely. But let me even shock you. All of us will fall out of love at some point. It's usually around that 2-3 years mark. You will fall out of love because you go see that person, yash. They will get on your nerves, on your lastest nerves, right? The last thing you will want to see when you're coming home from work after you've seen your work husband is a husband with his stomach up in the air watching sports, and there's a sink full of plates and he didn't even consider helping. And guess what you blame it on? The plates. You will say they didn't train him from his home to come and wash plates. That's not the issue. You fell out of love. See finish knee. Because remember, back then you used to wash the plate happily. Exactly. Chidima says see finish is not your mate. I'm telling you.
None of us get all of this right. But here's the secret. We don't marry the wrong person. We married our unfinished business. What do you mean?
You don't marry the... Let me see what she's saying here. She said you don't marry the wrong person. You married your unfinished business. What do you mean? Oyinbo. English is a bastard.
Years into marriage, we default back to how we lived in our family of origin.
You default back.
Repeating the same patterns we grew up with. That's why the person you thought you married seems to change. So what should I do? Instead of focusing on what's wrong with your partner, focus on healing your unfinished business. Help each other grow in areas that were lacking in your childhood. So it's not about finding the right person? Exactly. It's about becoming the right person together.
It's about becoming the right person. Anybody who will say, may God not let you marry the wrong person, or if that's the focus of their message, delete all their videos from your phone. Stop following them. They're not going to help you. I'm sorry. Okay? You will, in fact, marry the right person. The question is that, are you the right person?
You have the attitude and commitment to keep failing in the right direction. You'll keep falling in love with each other over and over again.
All right.
You want to know who's really happily married?
The perfect
It's not
marriage.
the couple posting couple goals on Instagram. It's not the ones who kiss loud in public but fight silent at home. It's the ones that actually like each other. The ones who laugh.
Wait, Simbi said, at this point in my life, I don't even have strength to impress anyone. That's a loaded sentence. Kilo means, Simbi. Explain. Elaborate. I'm waiting on.
Who are the best friends when no one is watching. Love is a great spark, but friendship is what keeps the fire burning when life tries to snuff it out. I heard this quote once: if a happy marriage does exist, it's
well, I'm not really friends with my husband. Well, become friends with your husband. Randomly. You say I'm taking you out tomorrow. You've never done it before. Why don't you do something different? Well, isn't he supposed to be the one to take me out? Yes. That's the spicy part about it. Change it up. Change something up. Okay? Change something. Start from somewhere small. Something small. It doesn't have to be go out on a date, but something, right? Pull out a freaking assessment for 5 love languages. Find out what his love language is. Play a game around it. Do something. Give. Right? Make it fun. Be friends. Become friends with your husband. If you're not friends with your husband, that's not the only problem. There's more. Tell me the rest of it. Because that's the beginning right there. You know? Well, I can be friends, but we're not best friends. I have my own best friends. You told me more. Now you told me. Now you're telling me more. Now you're telling me more. Right? Let's see. Friendship. I've always told you that, guys. Friendship, sex, lots of sex. We can have sex. Okay, what's the root cause? Get to it. Get to the bottom. Sex, friendship, expectations, pride. Those 4 things, you need to be in control of them. You need to be super intentional when it comes to friendship, sex. Friendship, sex. Lots of sex. Well, I can't have sex. No, I'm not good. Find out the root cause and solve it. Because if you can find yourself in the other room anytime you're upset, if that's why, that will help you with a lot of connection. If you can't have it, I understand it. Get back, go and find out why and solve it. Unless it's like a life situation, a medical situation, then still okay. But if you're talking to the rest of you, you need to solve for that. Friendship, sex, pride, expectation. Your pride, listen, none of you have as much pride as in like ego, as in like the negative one, as much as I do. I've been telling you that from day one here. Okay, my ego, the wrong one. You know how they say you cholesterol, good cholesterol and bad cholesterol. My doctor just told me recently I have my bad cholesterol, is it HDL, something like that. It's too high. My low cholesterol is not enough. I need to. So I've been working on that, right? You see, the same thing. There's pride. There's a healthy one. I need you to have a sense of pride, your self-confidence, right? There's a very bad one. The one where when if you just the way when if you calm down and decrease so you can lead. That one, pride is something you have to be in control of when it comes to you, your relationships, expectations. You need to manage your expectations. We already know that, right? But yes, friendship, sex. Did I say sex again? But friendship. Okay, friendship. Because if you're friends with that person and they happen to be the homies, the lover, and the friend at the same time, the sex is better. The sex is better than Olosho type of sex. How do I know? Leave that thing. No worry.
Because it looks more like a friendship than love. And he was right. Butterflies fade, chemistry cools. But when you've got someone who's down to do life with you, laugh with you,
cry with you, build with you, that's a win.
Real marriage is less sweep you off your feet and more sit on the couch and fight for.
Real marriage is less sweep you off your feet, but more sit on the couch and watch Netflix and chill. That doesn't always mean sex, by the way. Uncle Patrick says, no, let me see. That mom if I said that person will get work, will get money to take person out. Just say no. Hold on, guys, okay? Hold on. Hold All right, guys, I'm rounding up. I gotta round up now. Let me just read this. I said, now person will get work will get money to take our person. Oh, you better have work. Make sure you have work. Oh. It's a good point. The moment 5. Uncle Patrick says, emotion. I remember we were in Galilee, Israel to renew our marriage vow. My wife's hands were shaking at the altar. The pastor asked why. It's emotion. My mind was have a nice time with wife. Yeah. Yep. Guys, I'm rounding up. I did 85 minutes randomly in the middle of the afternoon because I was waiting for my wife. So I'll see you guys very soon, okay? Hopefully you've been enlightened, educated. We'll see you on the next one. Take care and God bless. Peace.